This is the introduction video for the work on the incline lab that we did in class the other day. In this lab, the key question was, if I have an inclined plane and I start with an object at the bottom of the ramp and I pull it at a constant velocity up to the top of the ramp, how does changing the steepness of the ramp affect the force, the displacement, and the work done in that process? In this lab, we made a ramp by stacking textbooks, and we took one of these tracks, which has markings on it so we can measure the distance traveled along the ramp. And then we used a low friction cart and then a force sensor. We started the cart at the bottom of the ramp, and we basically measured, starting with the back of the cart somewhere here, which we called position 0. And then we used the force sensor to pull the cart up the ramp at a constant speed using a force directed parallel to the incline until the bottom of the cart got to the top of the textbooks. We then measured the displacement being the distance traveled along the ramp, and then we measured the force using the force sensor. The force sensor generated a force versus time graph on our computers, and you would know that if I pull an object up a ramp at a constant velocity, the forces are balanced. So my force versus time graph should be nice and horizontal, indicating that a constant force was applied throughout the whole time. We then grabbed a chunk of the graph that we felt was the most horizontal or the most regular, and then found the average force value for that interval, and then used that, and then recorded that as our force for our lab. And that would be one trial. For our next trial, we then made the ramp a little steeper, while keeping the height the same. And once again, we would take the cart, we would start it in the same location at the bottom of the ramp. We would very carefully pull the cart up the ramp at a constant speed with a force parallel to the incline until it once again made it to the top of the ramp. And once again, we then measured the displacement value from the bottom of the ramp to the top of the ramp, and then we measured the angle of inclination using the leveling tool on an iPhone. Once we had the angle of inclination, the force, and the displacement values for 5 trials, we calculated the work values and then analyzed our data.